Hey, you're watching a Fistful of Vinyl, and we're here at Righteous Waves. My name is Alec, and I'm here with Joe Whiteford from Harley Poe. How you doing, man?
Okay.
Cool. Thanks for being here. I know your van collectively is under the weather, and I appreciate you guys being troopers. You sounded great, by the way. You sound
thanks.
better sick than I do well.
Oh, geez, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
it's
us.
not that high a compliment. I'm much better at talking than singing. But yeah, if it's cool with you, I kind of want to go through, talk about your own musical history. There's some, I don't know if controversy is too strong a word, but there's certainly some divisive opinions about the content of your music. And there's also such an appreciation for a kind of classical horror within it that I want to kind of explore the way that you write through that lens. But first up, so many of these, we'll call them the protagonists of your songs, are generally pretty despicable, we can say. At least the ones that are based in a character, I'm presuming / hoping, right?
Yeah.
Good. What is it like to write from the perspective of a depraved or psychotic character? Is there a speculative element to it? Is there a part of it that you relate to at all?
Yeah. I just a lot of it's just my opinion and just I guess most of it's autobiographical. It's just it's the way I'm thinking, and I'm just putting some fiction into it.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
So what part of it do you relate to if you're singing from the perspective of a murderer or a werewolf or something like that?
Well, like a werewolf, like a time of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Don't cheat.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know. I just throw in some of my opinion, and I just throw in some of my I don't know, man. I really don't know why I write. I don't know where it comes from, or
Well, part of the, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, man, please.
Part of the reason I ask is that while it does seem very character based, if you're watching a horror movie or something, you feel, at least I feel a lot of the time, that the sort of mind of the killer or the mind of the antagonist isn't very well understood, and it seems like there's a lot of personality put into those perspectives. And I read a comment of yours somewhere where you talked about the sort of protagonist antagonist nature, and how writing from the perspective of an antagonist as if it's a protagonist is central to the theme of your music.
I feel like the bad guy a lot, and so I think I write from the bad guy point of view, just because I think maybe I don't always think. Sometimes I wonder if I'm like a good person, or I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, what do you think makes a good person?
I think it's someone who's not selfish, someone who cares for others and wants to do good. Wants to. I'm just mostly just. I don't know. I'm not really good at interviews. Sorry.
No, dude, you're doing fine. And if you're more comfortable with this put away, I'm happy to just
I don't know. I'll just answer the best I can, but I probably won't do a very good job. Sorry.
I started listening to you guys when you were in Calibretto 13.
Mm-hmm.
And to my I don't have much of a religious or faithful background, but to my understanding, that was a Christian band.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that had to do with your upbringing, and what caused the kind of turn away from it after the fact?
I became a Christian when I was a teenager, and I was just all about it. For some reason, when I became a Christian, it just clicked with where I was in life. And
Sure.
It was just surreal. It was very real to me, and it's just what I was all about it. And just as I got older, I just wasn't making sense anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I had a similar kind of upbringing. I was going to church with my family up through middle school, and I think it took me 3 times getting thrown out of youth group before I actually was allowed to stop going. I had a mouth. One of the youth pastors, this woman Christine, who I'm fine talking about her and using her real name because she ended up embezzling money from the church and running away with one of the priests. It's messed up. I know that sounds made up. I'm dead serious about that. She was the youth group instructor one year, and she was telling the story about how she and her family went to Europe, and they went into this parking garage, and they had like a van, and they walked around, I don't know, Brussels for the day, we'll say. When they got back to the parking garage and they were trying to leave this parking structure, they felt like their van wasn't going to fit out. So they decided that what they should do is everyone should get out of the van and hold hands and pray for help. And then God sent 2 parking lot attendants who showed them the way out. And I wanted to ask questions about, whether or not she knew about that little bar you pass under on the way in to a parking garage. That's the lowest point in the garage. But when she said, I think rhetorically, what else could I have done? I answered, I thought in my head, turns out I said it out loud, you could have taken the 7-foot cross off the roof of your car. I wasn't allowed back to youth group after that. And I thought my mom was going to be super mad at me, and she actually thought it was hilarious. So that was the kind of end of my relationship with faith at that point. And then I just felt that, like, for the most part, reason contrasted so much with faith that I never felt like faith could beat out reason. What you're singing about now, to me, feels kind of like a subversion of faith, or of sort of like the Christian or like religious ideals. Does that feel intentional, or would you say that's accurate?
Maybe earlier on when I was writing. Now, not now. I don't really care. I'm not having an opinion anymore.
On religion specifically.
Yeah, I'm not trying to destroy anyone's religion or ideas or faith. Everybody to each his own.
Yeah.
If it would get you by and makes you happy, then pursue it.
I think that's kind of the most important lesson of life. Do what makes you happy and try not to hurt anyone else. No?
Why not hurt anyone else?
I think
It makes you happy hurting someone else.
I guess I see that as like a treatise on somebody else's agency. And that's not even to say that there aren't people who deserve to be hurt. But I think I don't know if happiness born out of hurting somebody else is true happiness. And I say this like I do martial arts. I've been in more fights than I can remember. I played rugby. I wrestled. I've been, I enjoy going to shooting ranges. Like I've done a lot of like arguably violent activities in my life. And I think it was probably just getting in scraps that taught me that fighting never really accomplished anything. So I guess if I can revise that, it would be, don't hurt anyone else unless you're doing it to prevent other harm, perhaps. If somebody's trying to hurt your family or somebody else, and like, by all means, you hurt the fuck out of them if you can stop it. But try not to enjoy it? I don't know. No, that was a good challenge. Appreciate you asking me a question. That's I appreciate it being more of a conversation. So I asked the internet kind of what they wanted to hear from you as well, and somebody came up with a really good question. And I had a zombie dream last night, and I freaking love it when I have zombie dreams. It's like dreaming an action movie. It's fantastic. So what does a nightmare look like to you? Like if you woke up and you're like, oh God, I had a nightmare. What is it probably about?
Just probably just losing the few people that I love. Just them not wanting to be with me, or just death, I guess. Losing somebody I loved. I guess that's it.
No, I mean that's
my kids. Losing my kids.
Tell me about your kids.
They're at home right now, and they're they have no school because it's freezing in Indiana.
It has its advantages.
Yeah, they're
never had a snow day here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Snow days are awesome.
Yeah. Do they take after you at all?
Yeah, they yeah. They take after their mom a lot, and they take after me. They like music and monsters, and they're good boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you watch horror movies with them?
Sometimes.
What do
Yeah.
you like to show them?
I watched the new It movie with my oldest. He's 10, and he loved it. They really like Stranger Things.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. My 8-year-old doesn't always. He likes monster movies, but he doesn't really like scary movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you grow up watching monster movies?
Yeah.
What do you remember most fondly?
My mom introduced me to Alien when I was just
Oh yeah.
I don't know, 7 or something. And, I just have a lot of good memories. I can place all memories. I can place a movie with different times in my life, what I was doing, and so that's one reason I'm so fond of horror films. My mom would always show me new horror movies, and I can just think back and remember what I was going through at that time that movie was showing or something. And just takes me back to my childhood.
Sounds kind of comforting in that sense.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other? I've definitely used entertainment to get myself through. Like Scrubs got me through at least 2 breakups.
Mm.
Community got me through 1.
Mm.
And Breaking Bad got me through a relationship I probably shouldn't have been in to begin with. But it's interesting. Like it's always kind of framed against some piece of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, like with music, like
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like sharing a song you care about with somebody that you feel strongly for at the time is one of the most deepest degrees of vulnerability that you can experience, because once that person goes, that song doesn't go back to meaning what it did before.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of had to do triage where it's relationship ends, sometimes they inevitably do, and you kind of got to decide what you're willing to work to reclaim.
Yeah, you're right. Can you listen to that song again? You just got to let it go, or put new meaning to it or something.
Well, and I think that's the secret. It's it takes work, it takes discipline. It's if you listen to the song and it makes you feel shitty, then you can say okay, this is going to feel shitty for the next 95 times that I listen to it, but every single one of those times I'm going to be giving it a new memory, giving it a new attribution.
Yeah. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just got to totally let it go.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth the effort. And I've definitely there were definitely songs I used to love that I kind of hate the song now, but if I'm really being really honest with myself, I know it's because of the memories I have attached to it.
Yeah.
And I think similarly, even when I'm in a perfectly happy place, I really love sort of aggressive breakup songs, or the I'm alone and happy, Cavalier Eternal by Rise Against Me. It's just all about going on from a relationship and being triumphant and eventually having the other person realize that you were worthwhile after all. And those even in a perfectly happy relationship, I find a lot of positive energy in those songs.
Yeah.
What do you let's see. Oh, okay. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. You were talking about Alien, and I know Ripley is such a phenomenal character, and is kind of a champion of on-screen feminism, where you've got a very self-possessed, very capable woman dealing with the biggest threat in the fucking universe, and yet so little of the movies, ultimately the movie isn't. Yeah. It's a good example of a woman being triumphant, independent of the help of a man. And I know there's that the Bechdel test that you can run movies through of does a woman have a conversation with another woman that's not about a man? And I know that movie is one of the most triumphant successes of that. And the reason I'm kind of reflecting on that is, when I was asking people about your music, there's a lot of sort of divergence in opinion about partially the way that like women are presented in your music as often being victims, and other times is not celebrating but shining a protagonistic light on like some pretty terrible actions or actions that could be interpreted as like transphobic or misogynistic. How do you feel when somebody reacts to your music that way? Have you heard that before?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I can see why, like, time of the month. I've had a friend that didn't like that song because she was offended by it, but I'm not trying to offend anybody with that song. I was just comparing, the menstrual cycle with turning into a werewolf because, when you're on your period, I was married to a woman, and when she was on her period, she was grouchy. So I just related it to turning into a beast. That's all,
Sort of like a degree of extrapolation.
We all, even dudes, I have a period too, I'm on the rag sometimes, it's not a big deal. Suckers is about a guy, just taking advantage of
trying to,
and I think that's a song about women empowerment. She turns it around on him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I especially love that one because it's somebody thinking they have the upper hand and then discovering horrifically at the end that they don't. And then the other one that kind of comes to mind, and these were sort of the three that spawned this question. The other one was transvestites can be cannibals too. That one I've especially heard like divided opinions on, and being sensitive to the fact that I'm a straight white male and to a certain degree I don't have the experience that other people do who have an opinion on the song. Most of the people that I've heard from who dislike the song for the phobic elements of it or the phobic characterizations of it dislike it on behalf of the group that would be affected by that. They're not necessarily members of the group themselves.
Like what group? Transvestites,
transsexuals or transgender kind of get grouped in there as well, despite there being a distinction.
They can, if they want to, but this song's not about. It's literally just about a person who's dressing like a woman and then eats people. It's not. I'm not really trying to speak for transgender or transsexuals. I'm not really even mentioning them in that song. It's just around Halloween. For a long time I always just my go-to costume was just a makeup and a dress and it's a female outfit. And I didn't know why. I preferred to go that in Halloween, and so I don't know, man. I don't even know. I wrote that song such a long time ago.
Yeah.
I was so young. It was a lot of my feelings about just not being accepted, and it's just a big fuck you to those who didn't accept me. That's all.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to say anything really.
You might. So there's a couple other interpretations of the song that I think you might like a little bit more. One of which is that arguably in that song it's almost an egalitarian anthem where the main character is a transvestite, the main character is also a cannibal. Those are practically unrelated. Them being a transvestite does not make them a cannibal, vice versa. Yeah. There are many, many transvestites out there who don't eat people. They've managed to resist the temptation if it came upon them. And similarly, I'm sure there are cannibals that just always wore their, gender expressions clothing.
Yeah.
But the other interpretation, the one that I feel like, oh crap! It was in my mind a second ago. Let me see if I can get back to that.
It's really just a dumb song.
I don't know, man. That may be true for you. I think music kind of stops being the sole property of the artist when somebody else hears it and has an opinion on it. Yeah. Being a meaningless song to you does not necessarily mean it's meaningless to somebody else.
Yeah, that's true.
You mentioned something else that got me kind of curious about when you said this. This is something you wrote a long time ago. Are there lyrics that you've written or that when you reflect upon you find you don't agree with them now in the way that you did when you wrote them?
Yeah, but that changes too. Depends on how I'm feeling that month or whatever, that year. I might not want to perform certain songs, and then I want to perform them again. I'll think I don't want to push these lyrics because I don't really agree with it, but then I'll think I'll be okay with it another time because I'll just think they're just lyrics. Who cares? Just some people agree with it, some people don't. There's no wrong or right to it. It's just I wrote it and I'm gonna perform it now or I'm not. I don't.
Sort of an ephemeral decision in that sense, or
yeah, sure,
spontaneous.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it just depends what you're going through at that time.
Yeah.
When I was getting divorced, there's a lot of songs I didn't want to touch, and when I was, seeking out spirituality or Christianity, there's songs I didn't want to touch, and my mind changes from day to day. So
That's pretty human.
yeah, it is. But I didn't feel like I changed so much daily. I always felt like I was pretty much who I was and what I thought and what I believed. Up until the last couple of years, I always kind of thought I just had a handle on what I thought about everything, and now I just I don't.
Do you know what changed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's no, it doesn't matter what you believe or what you think. Someone else is always going to disagree, and if they're smarter than you and they can have a better argument towards what they think, they're going to sway you. I mean, if you're open, to checking yourself. So I can't decide, can't figure out this is who I am, but this is what I think, and this is what I want. And, it just changes depending on the weather and depending on who you're around and what you're going through. And if you're having a good day or a bad day, or if you're sick, or life's working out the way you want it to.
Are you comfortable with that level of vacillation?
No.
Do you feel like you need to know who you are to a pretty full extent?
I would like to. I would like to have some stability like I used to. But I think that the older I get, the less I have. The more it just gets more confusing and more just I don't know more. Every day you wake up and you realize, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that. And the more you experience, the more you realize that you can't figure it out.
You learn what you don't know, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's some form of enlightenment. There's a lot of philosophers who would claim that that's true enlightenment is understanding you know nothing. Voltaire. I'll cut that if I'm wrong about the philosopher, but I think it's Voltaire.
Is it?
I hope. I did think of that other interpretation of transvestites can be cannibals too, though. It's in kind of the theme between all of those. And let me know if this was intended or if this is just something I've extrapolated or projected onto it. But, that time of the month compares, a woman menstruating to being a werewolf. I'm a Sucker compares vampire to, we'll say, a romantically...
sexual predator.
Well, I was almost going to say, it feels like it's almost like a criticism of like a woman who would go home with a guy after just meeting them. It feels that, and I understand it's not that.
So yeah, it should be. It's more criticizing the guy who's just going out looking for a piece of ass.
Right. Well, I mean, and with all of these, there's sort of like an initial take and then a deeper take, and then of course transvestites is the idea of cannibals and transvestites somehow being equivocated. In all of those cases, it almost feels like there's a degree of commenting on the way society reacts to transvestites or promiscuity or menstruation, almost with like the same degree of like abhorrence or presumed secrecy that they would react to like a vampire or a werewolf or a cannibal. Was that intended or is that 100% within Alec's mind?
That sounds really cool. I like that.
Cool.
I don't know if I was really thinking,
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure what I'm thinking when I'm writing.
I don't know, man. If I would be honored if you thought of your music even slightly differently because of something I said. Because you mentioned earlier being uncomfortable with not knowing who you are. Like, I think every day is kind of a journey, and there's days where that's fucking frustrating, and like you wish you just understood the inside of your own head. And there's days where it feels like the part of your brain that you don't really feel like you have control over is controlling you. But for the most part, I want to be kind of optimistic about the idea that I'm the person I am that day, once. Every day is different. I grow a little bit every day. And some days feel like a step backwards, but I also feel like experience itself has an absolute value. Everything that you experience contributes to your body of experiences. So even something that feels shitty or doesn't go the way you want it to is theoretically a step forward because it joins the collective of the other stuff you've been through.
Yeah. And I was, experiences, and it just seems so so pointless. I mean, you're gonna forget half the shit you go through, and half,
half's generous. I forget like 90%.
90%. There you go. So you
I called Mike Gregg earlier.
Yeah. So you had these experiences, and you learn this, and you're becoming this, and every day it's different, but you don't remember any of it. I mean, what you are now is not what you were 10 years ago. You don't even know what you were 10 years ago.
Yeah. It's not what I was yesterday. It's not what I'm going to be tomorrow.
And soon you're going to be nothing.
Yeah. Dust or something. Bones. Worm food.
Yes, it just seems all just stupid.
Life?
I don't know. I guess it depends on who you are,
Or is it the idea that life has meaning stupid?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It has meaning to some people.
Well, I thought of kind of a fun question earlier as well. As I was kind of reflecting on my own experience with like old school horror movies. I've always noticed like the really strong narration in them, like the kind of creepy narrator voice. If there were a documentary about your life, who would you want to narrate it, living or dead?
Huh.
It's a good one, right? Came up with that in the shower. I was like, yes, I wrote it down. I've got a little notepad in the shower that Kirk gave me.
Documentary about my life. Yeah, Anthony Hopkins, just because I like his voice.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
Obviously, it doesn't work with my life at all,
Who's to say, man? Hey, there's still time for that to happen.
What?
He's working.
I just like listening to him talk, that's all.
There you go. You want your life to have sort of a melodic quality when it's read back to you.
Yeah.
I just want I readied a Vincent Price impression just in case that was who you went for, or a Crypt Keeper, just based on your music. I was like,
I'll take either one of those.
Yeah.
I like Vincent Price.
God damn it! I totally backed myself from having to do this impression.
Go ahead. Do ahead.
Joe Whiteford was... No, that's not even fucking close. God damn it. Joe Whiteford. No.
Yeah, you almost got it.
Come on. No, I had it earlier. You can ask Matt. I had it earlier. Joe Whiteford was born... I'm just going to fucking do it. I don't care if it sounds like him or not. Joe Whiteford was born fully grown, 160 pounds, and walked out of the womb with a full head of facial hair.
Not even 160.
Carrying a guitar and a box set of Wes Craven films.
Yeah, that's not Vincent Price. But
no, I don't know what else.
Somebody.
Yeah, damn it. I wish that had gone better. Whatever, it's permanent now. Somebody wants to comment about how little that sounded like Vincent Price. I welcome them to upload a video of themselves doing a Vincent Price impression narrating Joe's life. If you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple parts of every interview that I like to kind of reflect on. One of which is this die that you've had in your hand the whole time. I just got a series of questions, and each one correlates to a number on that die. You gonna give it a toss?
15.
15. All right. This is a twofer. You can pick whichever one you like.
Okay.
What's the worst tattoo you've ever seen, or explain your worst tattoo? Or, what's your favorite slang term?
I don't do much slang, so I got a bracelet of thorns on my wrist. It's pretty stupid.
How old were you when you got it?
18, maybe.
Yeah. Did it seem awesome at the time?
No, it didn't seem awesome at the time. It just seemed like I don't even remember why I got it. I don't know why I did it. But
I've seen much, much worse tattoos.
Yeah.
I think as far as bad tattoos go, you got off pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I don't regret it. I mean, it's
Oh,
there,
no, I mean,
but,
you wouldn't put something on your body if you thought you were going to regret it, right?
uh,
What do you regret?
I don't regret any of it. It's what I did. It was then, you know.
What's your most recent one?
The last one I got was my cramps tattoo, and that was
Nice.
still such a long time ago.
Would you ever get another one?
Yeah, I'd love to get more. I just got other things going on.
Yeah.
It's not a priority.
Yeah, I can see that's a little bit frivolous if you got things you need to take care of. Well, we like to use our platform to kind of give a voice to bands that a lot of times don't have a platform of their own. With that in mind, who should people check out that maybe they haven't heard of? And aside from that, just what are you guys listening to in the van as you're driving around the country?
Everyone has headphones on in the van.
Really?
Yeah, no one. We never put music in together. But I mean, this is the first time we've toured. I mean, I never toured with these guys before, except for Greg. Greg and I have been touring for a long time, but Harley Poe hasn't toured for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So this lineup, this is how we've done it. We just everyone has headphones and listens, watches YouTube or listens to music on their own. I like it like that because then no one's forced to listen to something they don't want to hear, and it's quiet.
Yeah, it sounds kind of peaceful.
Yeah, it is.
It's whatever experience. It's about the only way you can get like the essence of personal time, and on tour you're never by yourself. So
yeah.
Cool. And so I mean, what's in your headphones?
I'm really into a Giant Dog. I like them a lot lately. I like Together Pangea. I think they're really cool. As far as bands that I've just been into lately, those two especially come to mind.
Cool. Oh, a lot of people have asked about your vocal technique. In a 30-second version, how would you get somebody started on like trying to emulate you vocally?
I don't know. I'm really nasally. I sing fast. I talk fast. So that's probably it. The faster we can play something, the easier it is for me to do it.
Yeah.
So I just try to speed us up, and I'm not a singer. I just start writing songs and singing songs. So you play a record, just everything sounds better, and when you speed it up, you can't tell that it's off. You can't
Sure.
tell that you're off.
So just hold your nose and sing as fast as you can.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
Piece of cake.
let's see. I was kind of looking into, wanted to ask you what you do in your free time. It sounds like you're, got a lot going on in your personal life. I want to hear about your Joe Whiteford's monstrosities. I've seen a couple of these art pieces pop up. What inspires those?
I just got into painting vinyl toys, and a lot of it's not even my work. It's just I just paint them, and I'll sculpt too, and I'll put out resin figures and resin monsters and stuff. I just enjoy creating characters, whether it's illustrating or sculpting or whatever. I just like I like creating people or monsters or just other I don't know, beings.
You ready for an esoteric one?
Sure.
Does every person have a monster inside them? Right?
No.
Isn't that like almost cringy?
I don't know, man. There's some really they're good people. They're people that you just think, God, you just so you're an angel, Others are just selfish and just mean. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I guess we all have a good side and a bad side.
I don't know. Maybe monsters have a little human in them. There's a quote of yours I saw, and this could be very dated as well. It was on your Facebook. It's not enough to say that Harley Poe writes songs about monsters. Harley Poe sing about being monsters. Harley Poe sing about being monsters, or underline that for emphasis. In the band's world, the vampires, werewolves, serial killers, and cannibals take center stage and become the protagonists onto which we project our joys, fears, and our failings. How do you feel about that?
I remember reading that years ago.
Yeah. Do you feel like that still describes kind of the way you write your music? It seems your last record seems so much more personal and autobiographical in a literal sense than in the previous ones.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that would? I mean, that had to have been a conscious change. What spurred that?
The last album, I was just trying to be as honest as I could about how I felt, and the last album, I just had to write those. I had to write those songs. I had to let out what I was feeling, and I had I don't know. I don't even know if my intentions were good. I don't know if I even should have released that album. I just had to bite back with that album. I had to, for some reason, felt I needed to share with the world what I was going through. And I really didn't. I just did.
You sound like you think that was selfish.
It was selfish.
I disagree. I think the people that I've heard who've listened to your music and those that relate to it, like...
That's why, because everyone has had a broken heart. Everyone's been through shit, with other people. Everyone's, gotten their heart stepped on or hurt others, It's easy. It's more relatable than the other stuff because we're human and we seek out relationships and we hurt each other.
Yeah, and categorically. It's part of being in a relationship is agreeing for that, not that the person can, but that person will hurt you. It's part of the agreement, I think.
Yeah.
With that album, I think you gave a voice to a lot of people's emotions that they didn't really have a voice for before. They didn't really have a way of interacting with before. I think you should give yourself a little bit of slack, man. If you're feeling selfish for releasing that because it helped you, I think that's far, far outweighed by the amount that it helped other people. And you said that's part of why you released it.
Well, I hope it did. I hope it did help other people. I'm obviously I love music. When I hear a song that I can relate to, no matter how disgusting or sad or whatever, you feel like, oh, good, someone else is feeling this too, and that's all it is. Yeah. And so if someone else listens to that album and feels that way, and it only helps in the sense that they feel like they connect with somebody and they're not alone. But it doesn't make anything better, It just lets you you just realize that, oh, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not that weird, or I don't know. I'm glad. I hope it does help people. I hope if people listen to it and it makes them feel like they're connected, and it feels good.
Well, as someone who has felt very alone with their demons before, I think that is positive. But like we said, music's subjective. It's meaningful to somebody if they attribute meaning to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, hey, I want to really thank you for taking the time to sit with me today. I appreciate, you led with, you're not very good at interviews. I think it's been an excellent conversation. I really appreciate it. I want to give you some stickers.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I made you a t-shirt.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely, man.
This when you bleached it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, dude.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's fresh this morning.
That's neat.
Last question, what can people expect next from you? Addendum to that, a lot of people would love some vinyl. Is there any chance of that in the future?
I'm talking to Chainsmoking Records to re-release Satan's Sex and No Regrets in vinyl, because that's the most popular album. And hopefully in the next month, Have a Great Life will be released with on vinyl and CD and with a figure and everything together, and that's what I'm trying to get out next. And after that, man, I have no plans for Harley Poe. And if more songs come, cool. And if another album comes, cool. And another tour opens up, cool. But if not, I can live with not doing anything else. Just take it as it comes.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm personally looking forward to those releases.
Well,
definitely going to grab them. Hey, thank you, my friend. This has been a lot of fun.
Hey, thank you.
And thanks, everyone, for watching A Fistful of Vinyl. Subscribe, like, comment, all that. I want to hear what you guys think of the interview today. And where can people who want to order that vinyl or find your music, where should they go?
If it works out, maybe in another 4 months, Satan's Sex will be re-released, and I'm guessing that will be released through Chainsmoking Records again, or through me. I'm not sure. the best way to follow what's going on with Harley Poe is probably through my Instagram. It's just Joe_Whiteford, and I just keep people updated through that.
Cool. Well, thanks again, man. Be well, everyone. We can get.
No, let's go let it. Nice. Let me just get a little sound check from both of you guys real quick.
So, Joe, what's your favorite part about sound check? I like it when they check the sound.
I hate sound check.
Oh, God. You know what? Me too. I'm just going to do a 180 on this one. There's nothing I like about it. What else do you hate about sound check?
I just hate playing music.
It's the worst. It's the worst.